Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing a GeForce GT 1032GB GDDR5 in Baldur's Gate 3. This one is the MSI Aero version of the card. It comes overclocked out of the box and I'm not pushing it further. We're running it with the latest Nvidia drivers, of course, and you can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Up's GPU-Z. And yes, this is a PCI Express 3.0 x 4 GPU 1030. Yeah, it's terrible anyway. Over on the left, we're pairing it with the i7 4770K overclocked to 4.5 GHz. These speeds are wrong right here. And over on the memory tab, we're using 16 GB of DDR3 2400 MHz RAM in dual channel. Let's get into it, shall we? Alright guys, let's go over the settings first. I'm starting at 720p resolution using the lowest settings possible already. Okay, because this is not a very great GPU. And today I'll have a couple of tests here for you. First, I will test it in the city, which is the most intensive area in the game, and second, I'll test it at the beginning in like a foresty area to see how the game will run up until you get into the city. That said, let's play the game now. Oh, what is happening with you, buddy? Are you feeling all right? Whoa, can we talk to you? No? Can I push you? No? Okay, so he's completely bugged out. I just downloaded this save file from Nexus Mods, by the way. I haven't really played the game up until this point, but I will, because I'm actually enjoying it a bit in my free time. But yeah, it's not really that playable here. It's getting 20 frames per second. You could say that you can play this game with 20 FPS, honestly. It's just a point-and-click title. As long as your friends aren't teleporting all over the place, as well as the enemies, like on the GT 710, because we were on single digits in terms of FPS, you know. It was absolutely terrible. I think it's gonna be okay. The game looks alright-ish. It's a lot of shimmering, of course, because it's 720p, but you can see things properly and you can use your attacks and so on. The combat is also turn-based, so it should be fine, okay? It's not ideal, for sure. I would love a 60 FPS experience, obviously, or at least 30 FPS all of the time. But again, I could definitely play like this, and you can actually get 30 frames per second from time to time, especially in other areas of the game. Again, the city is just way too intensive. Oh my gosh, what have you seen? What's that face? Those eyes, they are scared. Okay, in this direction, look at that, dropping from 20 frames per second. Jesus, 15, 14 frames per second. Holy crap. Oh my god, is this intensive. Okay. Again, this is probably playable for the type of game that this is, but it is not ideal whatsoever. This is the first time I'm exploring this part. Oh no! Why are we fighting? Guys, why? How can't I reach this destination? Who am I controlling right now? Where are you? It's this one. No? No, it's inside of the other one. I can't move. No way. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, you do this. There we go. See, this is the combat system that I was telling you about. It's not really hard to do with 20 FPS or whatever. You just need to click things. Your cursor is still at 60 Hz, so it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna fight these guys. There we go. Good job. Good job. We can do this. We can do this. Much better idea to fight them with the swords. Where is Karlak, by the way? Is she dead? Oh, she died. Oh! Well, the good thing is we are almost done with this fight. We did it. Who needs Karlak anyways? Let's just move on now, okay? To the other part of the game. I don't know why these people decided to attack us. It's very weird. Also, I kind of want to try it with FSR to see if it improves things here. So I'll set it to Ultra Quality. Ugh, it looks so terrible at 720p. What is happening? Oh my god! No, it's another fight. I don't care. I don't want this. I just want to get to this side. Okay, there we go. There we go. I'll leave the other ones to die. Or not. You are here. Okay, everything is fine. So, with FSR, set to ultra quality. This is FSR 1.0, which is looking really bad. It's still kind of the same experience, isn't it? Maybe now it doesn't drop into the teens, but it's still getting close to 25 on average. Sometimes it reaches 30. Actually, it probably reaches 30 way more often than previously, but see, it still drops into the low 20s very often. And it looks absolutely awful. Like, I think I would prefer the slightly lower FPS and a little bit better visuals, because this is way too weird. It's like, look at that. Look at the vegetation. It's terrible looking. I don't like it. I don't like it. So here we go. Turn that off again. It's native 720p. All right, that's much better. It's pixelated, but it's much better. And the FPS didn't really change, did they? We were seeing 23 as well. So yeah, this isn't a game where you're gonna see 30 FPS, but I guess this is a game where you're gonna see 10 to 30 FPS with the GT 1030. So there we go. I'll leave you with that. I want to load the other save game now and see the FPS during the beginning part of the game. Oh my god, why is it getting less FPS? A lot of people have told me that my benchmarks are super inaccurate because I test it right here and the city area is just insanely intensive and you're gonna see way less FPS, like a third of the frames that you're getting, but no, it's the same thing. Almost. Maybe it's slightly better here, but what? You guys have been lying to me. No, I think I know what's going on with those comments. I think when you get to that city area, it gets way more CPU intensive and you're likely gonna have a CPU bottleneck if you have something like an RTX 2060 or higher end than that, you know? So here it's actually exactly the same because this is mostly GPU bound and vegetation apparently is pretty GPU intensive as well. But yeah, the CPU usage is definitely much lower now in this part of the game than it was in the city. I think in the city we saw up to 100% CPU utilization sometimes with the i7 4770K. So of course, if you have a higher end GPU, Jesus Christ, it's still dropping into the teens here, and something like the 4770K, here you'd get like 60 frames per second, 50 frames per second. I saw the i7 with the GTX 1050 Ti getting around 50 FPS here with 100% CPU utilization. But in the city area, the i7 would probably only be good for like 20 to 30 frames. So yeah, the city area is way more intensive, but for the CPU, not really the GPU. But yeah, apparently you're gonna see 20 to 30 frames per second, or should we say 10 to 30 frames per second during the entire game. In some areas like this one, you're gonna see like 30 plus. In closed out spaces like houses and stuff like that, you can expect up to 60 frames per second, because when I started this, I was inside of a house and I saw 70 frames, but getting out of the house, it instantly dropped into the 20s, so yeah, it's not great, but again, it's kind of playable for the type of game that it is. And if you want ultra quality FSR 1.0, it improves things by a little bit here, okay. So instead of seeing 35, we're now at 45, but in some areas it will still probably drop into the 30s. So there's not much you can do here in Baldur's Gate 3 if you have a GT 1030 to make it playable. Maybe overclock it a little bit, but usually overclocking this GPU only gets you about like 1 or 2 more FPS. It won't really change the experience whatsoever. And as I told you, this is a factory OC'd version of the GT 1030 with a pretty beefy cooler for dissipating like 30 watts of power that it consumes. So yeah, I think that's about it for this game. Even though this is getting 30 FPS more often now with FSR Ultra Quality, it still drops into the low 20s, as you can see. Shut up, I don't care, I don't care, shut up, do nothing, do nothing. What are you doing? Headbutt the bastard, let's go, yes, perfect. 14, that's what we needed. Alright, there we go, goodbye, sir. As I was saying before we were rudely interrupted and almost killed, I think I would still take the 27 or 26 FPS average experience with a little bit better graphics, because again, it's only point and click this game. You got the dialogues, you got the turn-based system, combat system, and FSR 1.0 is such a terrible implementation in this game, especially in vegetation areas like this one, that I just can't. It's too distracting. It looks too terrible here. Anyway, let me know what you thought of the experience here on the GT 1030. I'm really curious to see what you think of 20 to 30 FPS most of the time in this particular title with its gameplay mechanics and so on. And I'll catch you in the next one very soon or in the comments down below. And as always, love you all. Bye-bye.